Welcome back, guys. Today is day 5 of our 14 days of love, where I'm helping you manifest your specific person for Valentine's Day. And today we're going to be talking about divine guidance. Okay, that inner hearing, that inner knowing that leads us to go to exactly where we want to go. But as always, I always want to start off our videos with a massive, massive intention. So what I want you to comment down below is, I am being guided perfectly to my specific person. So write that down below. Make that your affirmation for the day today, because you are absolutely being guided perfectly to your manifestation. And many of us, though, when it comes to divine guidance, start to think, what makes something divine guidance? Okay, what is I'm being divinely guided, and what is I'm just trying to force my reality? That's probably the best way to put it. But the trick is, and the easiest way to actually think about it, is when we are in the state, every single thing is going to work out in your favor. Okay? Because divine guidance, as Joseph Murphy calls it, and it's a great way to think about it, is inner hearing. Okay? So our reality is constantly and always telling us exactly what to do and how to get to where we want to go. The question just is, are we going to actually listen or hear it? Because again, another Joseph Murphy idea is that divine guidance is always spontaneous. It's always going to come into your reality and have you thinking, oh my gosh, I should do this right here and right now. And it always feels good. Because again, remember, when we're in the state, every single action is going to work out in our favor. So when you're feeling good, your mind wants to bring you along positive things. And when we're not feeling good, when we're aligning with a different state, then we're going to be guided along the different place. But I want to talk about that a little bit later. Because this idea that divine guidance is always spontaneous, so always like coming to you naturally, feels very good, is that intuition. So this divine guidance, this intuition telling you exactly how to implement this divine guidance, goes further than reason. Okay? Our reasoning mind can actually kind of go against our divine guidance slightly. Because Neville, again, I know I'm taking this all from Joseph Murphy. I almost said Neville Goddard. He said, the abandonment of the intellectual reason for the wisdom of God is intuition. So we don't use reason to figure out what to do, but we do use reason to carry out intuition. Okay, so intuition is that inner hearing. So basically you get this divine guidance of, I'm going to do this specific thing, and then we use reason to carry it out. So if you get the concept of, I should text my specific person right now, then you would text in the way that you know how. But the reasoning, we wouldn't know why or for what reason we're actually texting our specific person. That would be the divine guidance. And what I like about what Joseph Murphy says about this as well as he says, when you receive intuition, you will often find it is the opposite to what your reasoning would have told you to do. Because when you're in that happy, confident, joyous, abundant state, the flashes of intuition are so easy to recognize. You're going to be like, oh, I should do this, I should do that, I should think this, believe this to manifest and be with my specific person. But when we're in a negative, despondent, bitter mood, that's when divine guidance is impossible. It's the way I like to think of it is when you are seeing and in the state of what you want, every path opens up to you with that state. But the same thing goes in the opposite. And you'll find that when we're having a really, really good day, that's our feeling, right? We feel really, really good, and then we continue to feel really, really good. And when we're having a bad day, the same thing happens in the opposite. That's divine guidance at play. Because truly, and I touched on this a couple minutes ago, but divine guidance will support the state that we're in. So if nothing seemingly is going right, or you can't see the outcome to where you want to go, that's when we focus on our internal state. And so if you're messaging your specific person, interacting, and it feels confusing, you feel worried, it doesn't make any sense to you, that's when you pull back to your internal state. And it's something most of us actually totally forget about, that your internal state is the most important thing when it comes to manifesting. So we always want to be utilizing it every single second of every point in our manifestation. And most people forget this and think, no, I need to force it. I need to try harder. And I already made videos on why hard work is not going to bring you to your manifestation, or it's totally unnecessary, because when you are assuming as if you already have what you want, everything's going to come to you easily and effortlessly. So if you're not feeling good and you want to text your specific person, basically don't. Do not act in a state that is not in support of what you want. Okay, do not refuse to act. Focus on your internal state and then send the text. And you're going to see that you actually end up encountering like a night and day difference of this outcome and this movement with your specific person. And you can thank me later when you do this. And the thought is usually going to come about when we begin to do this. We think, yeah, but I have to act right now. I have to do something. I have to text them. I have to call them. No, you don't. This is all your ego and your conscious mind, your conscious worrying mind telling you you need to work harder or you need to try really hard to get A, B, C, D, or your specific person. You don't have to text right now. There's no urgency. There's this saying of like, everything that's urgent is unimportant, right? There's nothing that is truly important that's like massively urgent to you in a manifestation, okay? So it's like things that are important are patiently done and done with intelligence and this divine guidance that we're talking about. Because how do we naturally, I'm skipping a little bit far ahead. So what I want you to do, and this is a metaphor that can help you every single step of the way, is I actually want you to begin utilizing your feelings and assumptions and beliefs like a compass. Okay? What does a compass do? A compass is going to tell us exactly where to go. It tells us north, south, east, and west, but it basically tells us exactly where we want it to go. So if we want to go north, it's going to point to it. South, go the opposite, right? It tells us exactly where we need to go. But with that in mind, your emotions and your feelings, a lot of people fear those. We fear our emotions. We fear those feelings. But truly, there is nothing to fear about emotions or feelings because they're actually telling you exactly where you want and should go. Okay? So what it means is when we are feeling down, that means our focus is on something we don't want. Okay? So when you're feeling bad, we're focusing on why our specific person isn't messaging us or won't respond to us or won't hang out with us, right? And we feel bad. The compass is saying we are pointing towards an area that we don't want to go, okay? That we have no intention on going, okay? And when we feel good, when we feel positive, when we feel abundant, that's when our compass points straight at where we do want to go, okay? And we're thinking on things that we do want. We feel basically our path is then aligned towards what we want. So that's kind of the feeling of emotion because truly, and I've said this multiple times, we inherently are, so you specifically are an agent or an entity that is purely loving, abundant, and positive. So when you go towards what you want, it feels really good because that's what's true for you in this reality. And when we feel bad, it just means that we're focused on or pointing towards an area that we don't like, okay? It's pointing away from what we want. So always keep that in mind because how do we normally act when we find ourselves in a negative mood, okay? So sometimes we feel upset. What usually happens when we're upset? We get angry, we get mad, we basically cause more upsetness, right? We basically amplify and follow through with whatever we're feeling. And so we want to remember them when we're happy though, everything goes along with that as well. And I want you to, again, I used this metaphor recently, but think of it as a path. So as soon as you are in a positive, abundant, loving state, all the paths that lead to more of that, so your specific person is along this path, those all open up for you. But until we get into that positive state, it's all going to be closed. And when we get into a negative state, again, divine guidance wants to support. It loves you. Your reality loves you and wants to give you everything you want. So even if you want something negative, it's going to open up the opportunities for that. Like even this idea is so intense. Like even think of, if you guys have watched my previous day 4 video about everything is possible, this is the exact idea I'm talking about. Because if you don't understand that your specific person can message you during this video, tomorrow, overnight, you can manifest them. The more you say, no, that's impossible, that can't happen, the more you're cutting off that ability of it ever actually occurring. So we need to bring this belief and this assumption within us before we even see it outside of us. And so one idea that can help out with this is the concept that imagination follows habit. So whatever we are habitually doing over and over again becomes natural and it becomes effortless for us. So when we are naturally, automatically finding ourselves or doing things that take us into a positive state, that's going to be the easiest state for us to get into. But the same thing is in the opposite. Because if you guys want a hot take, every single state is not an accident, okay? When we're in a state that's very habitual to us, we didn't just accidentally fall there. We had to do something each and every day in order to continue that state. And so this includes states of being happy, states of being depressed, states of being angry, abundant, positive, negative, everything, optimistic, pessimistic. All of these are a habit. And so you don't just it feels like we just accidentally fall into it because we're not consciously changing it. That's the only reason it feels like we fall into these states or we fall into these habits. But truly, you are actively picking them every single step of the way. So if you want to change that, then we have to be conscious in this area and pick new habits. So if you over and over again were thinking that your specific person doesn't like you, doesn't want to hear from you, this or that, that is a habit that we are creating. So when your mind then encounters something that goes along with that or is resembling that, then it's going to run through the same neural pathway that it did every single other time, because imagination, the habit is what is causing us to do that. And so when we habitually think or go along negative things, our imagination follows this negative mindset. When we go along positive things, also our imagination follows that mindset in the positive. So seeing it very, very good. Okay. And the more you habitually do something, the easier it is going to become. Think of it in the way of like your neurons or your mind as like a highway system. The more you use or get into the state of something, the more your brain makes it easier for you to do that. Okay. In the same way that as a kid, walking, talking, all felt kind of weird or hard. And now it's like really, really easy. That's because the state is effortless. Okay, your pathways are really immediate. And the same thing happens with feelings and emotions. So if we feel it's really easy to get into a sad state, that's just because our mind turned that neural pathway into a highway. But we need to turn that back into a dirt road. And we need to take our happiness highway that might be a dirt road right now and use it so your brain turns it into that awesome super highway, taking you to the happiness, the abundance, the optimism that we need to really, really understand and totally get with this divine guidance. Because something to remember as well, in this process, it may not totally look exactly the way that we thought, because signs are always going to follow. They're never going to proceed or precede. Not proceed, precede. Signs are never going to come before. They're always going to follow. Now, I'm not meaning signs as in things that are aligning you with the state, like seeing your specific person's car, things like that, numbers, them texting you, calls, all of that is not what I'm meaning by signs. Signs means like that full success, okay? Signs are going to follow. Well, actually, no, this does add up. All those signs are not going to come to you until you get into this state. So I take everything I just said back. Signs follow, they do not proceed. And this includes everything that I just mentioned. So text, calls, we're not going to get the text and then feel into the state. We're not going to get the call and then feel into the state. We're not going to see these signs around us and then get into the state. We must first get into the state in order to actually perceive and see them outside of us. Okay, so if you've ever thought or said the word, I can relax once I get my specific person, or I'll be happy once I get my specific person, that's like trying to taste the fruit of an apple tree before even planting the tree. Okay, can you do that? Is that possible? And you're going to say, obviously, no, Kyle, that is not possible. So stop trying to do it with your specific person manifestation, because we don't do it with absolutely anything else. So now I want to dive into a few different success stories, as I've always been doing. And I think you guys are absolutely going to love them, really showcasing the power of divine guidance. One I included in a previous video, but it was so good. It talks about divine guidance so perfectly that I had to include it in the video today. So here's the first one that I want to put up. And so this person, I'll read it to you, said, I cannot believe blank, name of SP, texted me back today after I texted him, Happy New Year's, love you. And in parentheses, I was being brave, texting him that I love him, which was my first time ever saying that to him. And he texted me back, Happy New Year's, love you too. My New Year's is already starting with miracles. So imagine starting your 2024 in that way. This is how this person, they were my weekly coaching, so we met up each and every week, started their New Year's. Okay, but just think about this power of divine guidance. They had the divine guidance that they felt they wanted to reach out to their specific person. And a lot of times people or coaches or the community makes you feel like certain divine guidance isn't good, but that's not true. You can, because someone might say, well, I don't want to text my specific person because I don't want to be pursuing them. Well, states are a state, right? If you're in the proper state, you can perform any action and it'll be the right one. So if you're feeling pursued, then any state or any action you take will be a pursued action, right? You're a pursued person in a state. Any action that you take must be a pursued one, okay? So again, but you don't have to. That doesn't mean you do or do not have to text your specific person, but it's just cool to think about this person actively basically reacting to a divine guidance and how awesome and amazing it actually worked out for them. That is one of the coolest and most important factors of divine guidance that I just wanted to include, but I do have a couple other ones that give light to this awesome success that you can get to. So this person is from an email coaching session. So here's what they said. Hi, Kyle. I had another random encounter with specific person. I really didn't see any movement for a while and started feeling a bit doubtful, but recently I was leaving my workplace, school, at around the time the school day finishes, and they ran into each other basically. But think about this. So before starting this email coaching, had not seen any movement for a while, okay? Basically no movement. Then they start to get into this state and see this divine guidance. Their reality starts to push them and their specific person together. And the same thing is going to happen with you and your specific person when you start to get into the state. Okay, your reality and everyone around you, literally everything is going to push you and your specific person together. So just going to your workplace can be a divine guidance running you into you and your specific person. And I actually had someone else recently in a weekly coaching session ran into their specific person at a four-way stop. Okay, so they saw their specific person at a four-way stop sign. You're like, that's crazy. It's weird. It's like these encounters, as you're assuming the state, your reality kind of brings you and your specific person together in that way. So literally everything, anything and everything can be a divine guidance as long as we are listening to our intuition. And then I do have one more for you today. So here's what they said. So, hey, Kyle, we're back in contact. Went from being ghosted for over 2 weeks to her wanting to talk on the phone. It will be the first time they'll talk on the phone and hear each other since 2019. I ignored the 3D and kept imagining and affirming and persisting. Thank you. So much movement really does happen behind the scenes. So this is the power. I wanted to include this one because it really talks about time. It doesn't matter how much time there has been in the past. Really, literally, it does not matter at all. Okay, if you are assuming and you are creating, you are going to find your reality begin to shift and change. Again, so if you're in no contact, so literally ghosted, no contact for over 2 weeks, or you haven't spoken to your specific person, and literally that would be like 5 years. Okay, think about that, 5 years, and you think you can't manifest your specific person, in just a couple weeks, right? So it's like, if this person could do it, if all of these people can do it, then you can do it too. Use all of these as massively empowering goals and ideas, okay? And so, like always, if you did have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. Remember, you can also reach out to me on my website at kyleaugustcoaching.com. Remember, too, just a quick reminder I do for my members every single day, because I know it can be sometimes hard to forget. Or easy to forget, I mean. So if you're a member and if you want to join, you can become a member and we can work even closely each and every day. And you can see the lives that I've been meeting up with everyone, all of my members leading up to Valentine's Day. Every day, I give out an affirmation, a visualization, and a journaling prompt, as well as guide you through, so an extra video of a guided meditation taking you through that visualization. So if this is something you want to do and really vibe and get into the feeling, get into the state, definitely check it out. I'll always be having these 14 days of love. These will always be available though. So always remember that. And again, if you wanted to work more closely together as well, always, again, at my website, kyleaugustcoaching.com. But put all of your questions down below and make sure you did comment that original affirmation, I am being guided perfectly to my specific person, because I always like to set that positive intention. Because if you guys know or have seen my previous video, day 4, I talk about some setting intentions can get you some instant, massive, quick results. But if you have not checked out day 1 through 4 yet, I definitely would go check those out too. They're going to absolutely blow your mind with the amount of information and give you exactly what you need to manifest your specific person for Valentine's Day. Because I have my own manifestation in which I want to manifest 10,000 success stories in all of my members. So if you want to come and be a part of that, basically do me a favor and manifest your specific person so I can add you to my 10,000 success stories. But thank you so much for stopping by today, and I can't wait to see you in my next video tomorrow.